Well, it's late January, and as I mentioned in the previous video, we got colder weather, which means it's time to go ice fishing. On this week's episode of Adapting the Outdoors, I'm going to show you the gear that it takes to be successful, to be safe, and to have a good time. Stay tuned, guys. You don't want to miss this one. Alright, so the first thing that you want to be concerned about when it comes to ice fishing is safety. You want to make sure that, one, the ice is thick enough. If you're in a wheelchair like I am, which I'm thinking that a majority of my viewers possibly are, but anyway, if you're in a wheelchair, I would recommend no less than 8 inches of ice. And that may be even pushing it. They say that 6 inches of ice is big enough or thick enough for a able-bodied person to go out and ice fish safely. But given the added weight of most electric wheelchairs, which I don't know if I'm going to be using my electric or my manual. It's really going to depend on my mood and the weather conditions for that day. But given the weight of an electric wheelchair, you're looking at roughly, well, really it could be anywhere between 150 pounds and 400 pounds. The action track chair that I've talked about in a couple of videos that I've wanted to get, those weigh close to 400 pounds. So just the chair alone could weigh anywhere between 150 and 400 pounds. Now, given that, plus my body weight, we're looking at 300 plus to 600 plus. So, again, make sure that the ice is thick enough. No less than 8 inches, but closer to 12 would be my suggestion. The next thing you want to make sure that you have is a set of safety spikes. And unfortunately, I don't have a pair at this moment. But I will be buying a pair before I go ice fishing. And I'm going to insert a picture about here. So yeah, that's what those look like. The next thing, if you are able-bodied, get a pair of boots that have a lot of traction on them, as well as they have spikes that you can slip on the bottom of your boots to help get traction on the ice. The next thing as far as safety goes, layers. You definitely want to have layers. I recommend, this may not look like a heavy jacket, but in 20 degree weather, this keeps me nice and toasty. But I would definitely recommend at least 3 layers, not including a long sleeve shirt and an undershirt. So basically 5 layers total would be my suggestion for temperatures, negative or under freezing. So 20 degrees to negative 20, I would say no less than 5 layers. You want a good pair of gloves. These are Under Armour. I honestly, I've been through 2 winters with these gloves, and my hands have stayed incredibly warm. So I honestly think these are a good pair. Just really any thick layered glove that has some extra padding is going to keep your hands warm. You want to have a stocking cap. And mine happens to have a built-in light. A friend gave this to me for Christmas, and I just love it. But anyway, you want to have a stocking cap, or I call them a Russian hat. It's the hat with the ear flaps. And then a good pair of gloves. And you may get a thinner pair of gloves to put on first, and then put your thick layered gloves on, just as an extra layer of warmth. As far as someone in a wheelchair is concerned, you want to worry about your legs. I would suggest wearing at least 2 layers of regular pants and a layer of long johns, because I've worn long johns before, and those really keep my legs nice and warm. And like I said, I would recommend boots, and unfortunately, due to swelling issues, I can't find any boots that fit my fat feet, so I have to wear regular tennis shoes, so I double up on my socks. Obviously, if you're going to go fishing, you're going to need a couple of things. A fishing rod with a reel. Now, whether it's an open face like this or a push button reel, that's all about preference. And you're going to need a tackle box with some lures. The only lures that I have right now they're the same thing, and it's called an ice ant. It is a 1/16 ounce jig for a bluegill. The rod reel combo that I have here is a Masters Mighty Might open face. It's a 5.2 to 1 gear ratio reel. It came pre-rigged, so I'm not exactly sure about what size line this is currently on it. But this is going to be my pan fishing rod, so I'm really not concerned about it. More than likely, it is between 2 and 6 case. You're fishing on a body of water that also has like walleye, because just in case you hook into a walleye, you want to have that higher test pound line, so that way you can fight the fish and hopefully land it. As far as a tackle box goes, $4 was what this cost me. You can find them anywhere from $2 to $3 to $60. It honestly just depends on the size, of course. This is just an inexpensive flambeau, and one of our new sponsors, which I will be talking about in another video, is going to be sending me some jigs. So when I get those, I will be talking about those and showing you guys examples of different jigs. So something else that some people may not think about because it's pretty much common sense, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway. When it comes to safety, you want to make sure that you're carrying an identification with you. So that way, if God forbid something were to happen, people can find you and they can identify who you are. To go along with that, never go alone. Always take a buddy to go ice fishing with you. And carry some rope with you. That way, in case one of you were to fall through the ice, the other one can throw the rope to you and potentially be able to pull you out of the water. I would recommend no less than 50 feet of rope. Another thing, before you leave your house, tell somebody where you're going. You know, say I'm going to Lake X. You know, we're going to be on point 9. Whatever. Just tell somebody where you're going. Finally, the last piece of gear that I would recommend is a good pair of sunglasses. Because even though it may not necessarily be a sunny day, the light is still reflecting down from the sky and hitting the ice, which is then reflecting back at you. And even though it's not sunny out and the light is still bouncing back at you, that can do some serious damage to your eyesight. So I would recommend even just a cheap pair of sunglasses. These aren't cheap, but I would say that a cheap pair would be just as fine as, you know, $150 pair, whatever these are. So guys, I guess that about wraps it up for this episode. If you can think of anything that I've missed, please feel free to leave a comment and tell me what it was that I missed. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, because I'm trying to put out a video at least once a week. It may not be that frequently all the time, but I'm going to try to make it that way pretty regularly. If you also haven't already done so, go down to the description box and check out my social media sites, the sites of my sponsors, their social media sites, as well as my merch. We have Adapting the Outdoors t-shirts, we've got long sleeve, short sleeve, we've got hoodies. Here at my house, I have can koozies with the Adapting the Outdoors logo on them. So if you want one of those, send me a private message on the Adapting the Outdoors Facebook page. That link is in the description box. And if you can send me your mailing address, I can get that sent out to you. So other than that, guys, I guess until next week, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week, right here on Adapting the Outdoors.